A little bit about my own background and also what to expect by way of procedure, just exactly how this process works, because it's my understanding that none of you have been involved in a mediation in the past. I've been practicing law for about the last 20 years, and my practice primarily involved the litigation and arbitration of construction and commercial disputes. For the last 4 years, I've served as a mediator for the Arbitration Association, and I've served on approximately 45 to 50 cases. Most of those cases, I'm pleased to tell you, have settled. And after all this time, I've sort of come up with what I believe is the reason why most of these cases have settled, and that's because people like you have been willing to join in the process and to get together and work toward a solution. And my experience has been when people have been willing to do that, solutions are inevitably reached. So I have no reason to believe that in this instance we're not going to get a solution to this problem that you can all live with. One of the major differences between mediation on the one hand and arbitration and litigation on the other is my function. Unlike a judge or an arbitrator, I can't impose a decision on you. I can't tell you how this dispute should be settled and make you live by whatever my particular predilection is or thoughts are concerning what is appropriate. The advantage that we have here in mediation is that the settlement we're going to reach today will be your settlement. It will be your solution to the problem. It won't be mine. And that's one of the great advantages, I think, to you in this process, because there are things that we can do here today that can't be accomplished in an arbitration or can't be necessarily be accomplished in litigation. But remember at all times that my function here isn't to tell you how this is going to come out. And you may become impatient at times when you ask me, or you may ask me to try to tell you what I feel about a particular set of circumstances here. Sometimes I may tell you, and sometimes I may be reluctant to do that. Just understand that it's part of my function in helping you find and reach the solution that you want, not the solution that I may think you should reach. I don't know anything about the dispute other than what I've read in the brief written submissions that you made to me. I haven't any knowledge of, other than that, of the situation. I've never met any of you before, and I want to tell you what I think the association already has, and that is that I have no interest in the outcome of this matter whatsoever. I think that you need to know, as I said, what the procedure is going to be. We'll stay together once we get started, and I will ask each of you, either individually or through your lawyers, to give me and to each other an oral presentation of what your positions are. Once you've done that, I can ask for responses if I think that's going to be meaningful. At some point, we'll inevitably get to a kind of a situation where they're diminishing returns. At that point, we'll stop the proceedings, and I'll ask to meet with each of the parties individually. In kind of mediation jargon, we call that a caucus. Those caucuses are very important because that's the time when I get to learn a little bit about what you really think about the case that you don't want your adversaries here today to understand or to know about. It's very important for you to be candid with me and to tell me perhaps things that you may not want the other side to know about in those caucuses. For my part, I want to commit to you that anything you tell me in confidence in those caucuses will never be revealed by me to anyone else without your express permission. There may be times when I may ask you if I can divulge things that you've told me, and if you give me permission, I will, and if you tell me that you'd rather I didn't, then I won't. It's as simple as that. Finally, I think when we reach a solution to this matter, normally what my procedure is to bring everyone together, explicitly run through the terms of the settlement, usually write a memorandum which will memorialize those terms and get the signature of each party to that memorandum, later to be drawn up in a more formal document. Before we get any further, does anybody have any questions about this? No. Okay, let me just make a comment to you. I've read the written submissions, and I found them to be very interesting because although you disagree on practically everything here, one common thread, it's clear to me, runs through everything, and that is that you all seem to agree that there is a problem with the heating, ventilating, and air conditioning system in the building. Is that right, or does anybody feel there isn't a problem?
There's a problem.
Okay, well, if that's the case, then I think